score at home. It's Speaker Mike Johnson 1, Marjorie Taylor Greene nothing. The Speaker has officially lived to fight another day. The House officially voting to kill Marjorie Taylor Greene's motion to vacate. Let's bring in my colleague, NBC's Ali Vitale, who's live on Capitol Hill for us. Charlie and Paul are still with us as well. Ali, what was this about? Earlier in the hour, we brought the news that she had introduced this motion to vacate, something that Kevin McCarthy brought us as a country, that it only takes one now, and it's already dead. Explain.
Well, this is how we thought we would be starting the week, Nicole, with Marjorie Taylor Greene coming into the House chamber and privileging her motion, effectively saying, hey, I'm putting a clock on this. You've got 2 days to put it on the floor about whether or not you want to table or move ahead with this vote to oust the Speaker. Ultimately, what we saw happen here is that Marjorie Taylor Greene, though it's midweek for everybody else, it is the end of the legislative week here for those on the House of Representatives. They canceled votes tomorrow, and Marjorie Taylor Greene came in to cap off the week by saying, here's my privileged motion, and read it on the House floor. As soon as she did that, Nicole, she was met with boos from both sides of the chamber, and you see it reflected in the vote total that we saw in just the last minute or so as they closed out on the House floor, tabling this resolution. To put it in plain terms, the question that was posed to the House of Representatives was, do you want to kill this attempt by Marjorie Taylor Greene to oust the Speaker? Yes or no? The yes votes had it by a large majority. I believe the final total was 359 to 43. The 43 is the number of people who didn't want to table it, who said, yeah, I want to see us go on to a vote on whether or not Mike Johnson should keep his job as Speaker. And although most of those 43 votes were Democrats, and that's expected, several of them were also members of this Republican conference. It was more than just Thomas Massie and Paul Gosar, who were sort of the accomplices in Marjorie Taylor Greene's attempt here. But we also have people like Congressman Chip Roy, who had said previously that he didn't want to vote to table this because while he was frustrated with Mike Johnson and he didn't think a motion to vacate was right, he also didn't think it was right to just dispense with this altogether. Then you've also got some people in here like Congressman Davidson, who was one of the chief proponents of a FISA piece of legislation that didn't make it through several weeks ago. That drew ire for the Speaker. So there's some interesting threads to tug on here, but the top line is that Speaker Mike Johnson remains Speaker Mike Johnson. But at the same time, we'll wait to see what Marjorie Taylor Greene does next here, because just because there's a period on the end of this sentence doesn't mean that she can't go on to start another one. Nowhere in the rules that Kevin McCarthy negotiated at the beginning of this Congress does it say that you're one and done with your motion to vacate threats. And if Congresswoman Greene wants to continue down this path, I guess she could. But where this leaves it right now is where we expected it would be, which is that the Speaker is safe, that Marjorie Taylor Greene is done, in theory, embarrassed by her conference. And now we'll see what happens with a Congress that is really functioning, at least in bipartisan tenor of just wanting to be functional. And that's certainly the lesson as we ended last year and came into this one.
Charlie Sykes, the only thing I'd quibble with from Ali's exceptional account there, what went down, is that Marjorie Taylor Greene could be embarrassed. I would argue she can't be. Are you surprised? Or, I mean, Democrats did what you and I posited they might not want to do, and they decided to let Speaker Mike Johnson live to, I guess, get quasi-ousted another day.
Well, as you know, I have some mixed feelings about all of this, but I have to say that it is really extraordinary to watch a smackdown for the ages. If Marjorie Taylor Greene was capable of being humiliated, this was really something. As far as I can tell, it took 45 seconds for them to get to 218 votes to table. I mean, this was a spanking on the floor, House floor, and really an indication that Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think, is basically reaching her expiration date. I think that members of both parties are just disgusted by her. She, tried to flex some muscles here, and I think she showed exactly how little she actually has. So, again, I have mixed feelings about defining deviancy down with Mike Johnson, but to see the complete rejection and smackdown of Marjorie Taylor Greene is, it's worth the price of admission today.